I'm the general manager for fuel and gas, NDPHC. So I operate all the gas facilities across the country for our company. While the chairman started the discussion, he did indicate that we are in the period or in the season of paradoxes. There are so many paradoxes. And he said that we need transition, but we need a just transition. Fortunately, I am also of that view completely. So maybe my presentation, some might not take it very well, but it will be balanced. I just have a few points I noted. I'm just coming from the field, so I noted a few points here which I'm going to talk through. First, I want to say, as we all know, Africa, and indeed Nigeria, is energy hungry. We are energy hungry. And in fact, we are being starved. We don't have what we need to break through. So energy utilization in Nigeria, which we call the giant of Africa, I think it's more rightly said in population, we're actually the giant of Africa from my perspective. Don't take that to the bank. But from my perspective, in terms of population, we are giants. So the energy we use as a country, and for that I mean the on-grid energy, like he said, is less than what some councils use. A simple council abroad will use more than 4,000 megawatts. A single company in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, just for processing water for drinking, more than 4,000 megawatts, one single location. And that is what the giant currently uses on the grid. So we are really energy starved. I believe that if we can develop, utilize, and optimize our resource, what we have, particularly the gas, we'll be able to reduce a lot of societal ills. At the moment, we know that for countries that are net zero, or some of them that are negative, for instance, I've seen an example of that, they are planting trees everywhere. So they are not cutting down what they have, but they are planting more. But what we see today is that we are cutting down what we have, we are expanding. And as a result, that absorptive capacity of removing CO2 and some of the other greenhouse cannot be done. And so we need to look at that very critically if we are going to target the net zero in terms of emissions level. In Nigeria, as an example, if we look at Africa's situation, we have grafted technology. We have imported technology. We have not developed anything at the moment. And we must do that. We must do that if we want to be sustainable in our exploits. For instance, the first electricity in Nigeria was generated in 1896. 1896. This is over 126 years. And then we had the first coal plant, which is 1923. And after we did that and we did the Ogaji River and other things, we stopped completely. We had enough resources. We had enough coal deposits, but we never utilized it. The world, even today, a lot of countries still use coal to develop their country. But in Nigeria, we never exploited what we were opportuned to have. And so what are we seeing? Coal is now very dirty. It means you and I cannot go back to coal. Oil is becoming dirty, and we have not exploited oil. We produce, we send out. We produce, no refining, no value addition, nothing at all. And very soon, even the gas we are looking at, they may begin to throw it out, because we are listening and hearing a lot of people saying, don't develop gas again, don't fund gas again. It's going to be terrible for us. Today, we generate electricity in this country. And I can tell you, a lot of the gas we use is already pre-developed gas. Is there any new development coming up? I am not seeing that. Maybe our policies have to change also, because if I need gas now, I'm going to talk to him. Is he going to develop that gas for me, or is it gas he already has? If he wants to develop gas for me, I need to give him a contract of 10, 20 years. Is he ready for that? Am I ready for that? If I don't do that, then I'm just saying, scramble around and give me whatever you have. in the next few years, we will not have this gas in this country. So we need to think in that particular light. I believe that our survival is very critical, and it is tied to energy. If we must survive as a country, it's tied to energy. I want to say that when you are hungry, it's not a time to be dieting. You need to eat. You need to eat. I will leave that in that frame. If those who know. So when you are dieting, it's not a time to diet. When you're hungry, it's not a time to diet. It's time to eat. Otherwise, you die. All developed and developing countries have a base, energy base. They are building on top of that. They have something they can look back onto, and they're building on that. We need to take a clue from that. Africa, as we know it now, as at this year, we have a population of about 1.4 billion people in Africa, and that is about 17% of the global population. But when I looked at the literature and I looked at everywhere, we are contributing to less than 4%. Less than 4%. Some people say 2 to 3%, but less than 4% of the greenhouse gases. 17% of the world population contributing to less than 4%. And this 4% or 2 to 3% is mainly by some of the more developed African countries. South Africa, Egypt, and the others who have good capacity. Our contribution from Nigeria is almost insignificant. What is happening? We need to think about that. But we have the resource. Now, global warming, as we know today, is impacting Africa very, very heavily, maybe because of our location. And some countries like Mozambique, Malawi, Ghana, Madagascar, and others are heavily more impacted. Nigeria is also sharing its fair share. I see pictures from Lagos, and I see flooded houses. I see everything. Yes, the sea levels are going up. All those impacts are there. Down in Port Harcourt, different parts, even in Abuja here, if it rains, you think that there's no rain in the north, but if it rains, there are parts of Abuja that will almost be submerged. It was very recent. Areas along the airport road and others, we have challenges from global warming. And it's very unfortunate that we're not able to fight it because of our very mediocre economic capacity. If we had the economic capacity, maybe we would have been able to think about some of the solutions we can put in place to fight and to help the populace. I believe that we can optimize our resource utilization. We must transition to net zero carbon economic era. But the question is, should we take off our God-endowed resource, turn a blind eye to it, and then follow the move of the world? The federal government, of course, has put in place several programs. They include the National Gas Expansion Program. They include the Decade of Gas that the Ministry of Petroleum declared. All these are to help us sustainably begin to look inwards and begin to utilize our resource, especially the gas, to use it domestically. Is it for driving automobiles, cars, and whatever we want to do locally, and maybe to use it more in our homes and other things, as well as the plan to improve or increase the LNG capacities of existing and new ones that are coming up. So there is a plan locally to see how to improve our utilization of this resource. Now, I'd like to say something here about forecast and deviations. We are all aware of the International Energy Agency, IEA. They projected that if we must meet net zero carbon emission by 2050, every new development of oil and gas well must stop immediately. That's the proclamation. So, is it feasible? Is it possible? It may be a plan, but there are a lot of things that are happening within the space of this world, of this earth, that kind of moves and gives us some deviations from the projection. The energy need of the world is challenging. This target, as you have seen it, you will see companies, for instance, ENI, the Italian company, they recently declared that they found substantial crude in Ivory Coast, and they will explore for it, they will exploit it. ExxonMobil say they found in Guyana. They should obey what these guys are saying, IAEA, but there are benefits that people see beyond some of the other things that we put out there. So will Nigeria begin to sit on its hands now and say, we just follow blindly, and we don't? We must be energy efficient, but we should know that our contribution is very minimal, and we need a lot of support, but we must develop an infrastructure base. We must develop a capacity within our country. So then I want to also say that energy transition does not mean oil-rich, resource-rich countries like Nigeria should abandon its resource. I believe we can, like the previous speaker, we can work on it together. The renewables and the fossil that we have, especially the clean one gas, we can develop it jointly because we are nowhere near what we need as a country. There was a recent plan, and a lot of people are saying, okay, we drop gas and oil completely, and nuclear will take us to the next level. So we start developing nuclear very, very quickly. But incidents and accidents happen, and they change plans and directions. You are all aware of the accident in Chernobyl in Ukraine, and also the incident due to weather condition in Fukushima in Japan. Now, a lot of countries, because of that, have now crashed that idea. I do not think for once that Nigeria should be actually going into nuclear, to be frank with you. It's not something I would like to see at my backyard. I know there are proponents of it. If I cannot maintain the simple machines and other things, these things cost much. Even the commissioning that Japan had to do, they spent $75 billion to decommission. Do we have that resource? So Nigeria, we should be very realistic. We must move towards energy efficiency and zero carbon emission, but we must take a path that we can execute and we can work with. That's my view. I'd like to say, as I round off this particular presentation or opener, that net zero carbon era is a very worthy objective that will save our world. But the efficient utilization of our natural resource, particularly the clean gas, I put it in comma there, inverted comma, the clean gas has a great role to play in Nigeria's development if we must meet the SDG 7 goal of secure, affordable, and reliable energy for all. For Nigeria to approach the net zero target, the effective implementation of the Vision 30-30-30, we put several there. Sometimes we don't close them out. 30-30-30 means we can actually work together, get 30 gigawatts in 2030 and 30% coming from renewables. Can we get that done? That means we're still growing in our fossil, in what we are doing in terms of thermal generation with gas turbines, but we also have to put an eye on the renewable to develop it at the same time. Can we meet that? If we can meet that, then you'll see that we'll be approaching that net zero emissions into the atmosphere. Also, the way, the centralized generation. Now, centralized does not mean we have a single grid, but when you can stop me from using I pass my neighbor or something, and we can have it, whether it is regional or state-based or whatever, manageable grid, not what we have at the moment, where a line goes off, the whole country is down. Centralized generation means taking away those small, inefficient machines that are all around our houses with the noise and all the other things, and begin to have local stations that supplies a particular area in a more efficient system. It can help us to reduce the amount of CO2 we generate and also move us towards that net zero emissions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof, for